Hi guys, welcome back to the Fastest Lap podcast with me, Mel, and of course we're here with Ono. And today we are talking everything Austrian Grand Prix and what went down at the Red Bull Ring. Yes.
Bravo.
Thank you.
Great intro.
Thank you.
Proud of you.
I tried my best. Yeah. First sprint of the season, it's worth noting, was in Austria, and we had a new format where the top 10 drivers were the ones getting points this time round. And as well as extra points this week, it seemed we also had extra time penalties because the FIA, they were just dishing those out. But we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yeah.
Where do we want to start?
Definitely not practice.
Practice was...
We always go to do practice
Yeah.
and then go,
It's difficult because practice is literally, it's just data gathering. It's worth noting, they only had the 1 hour practice before quali. So,
Oh, yeah.
anyone who didn't make it out or wasn't out there for a while presumably did not gather enough data and intel for quali.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, because I think they had practice and then you had an hour and then it was qualifying ready for sprint the next day. It's definitely weird. I'm still not used to having sprint.
Is it the first sprint of the year?
Yeah, I think so.
I thought there was one Imola.
Have you been to Imola?
No.
I don't know.
I haven't been to.
This whole season's such a
Haven't been to
blur.
any. Nice one to.
I think it is the first. I don't remember there being a sprint.
Because I remember me moaning about sprints and was talking about it.
Yeah.
But oh well, it
Wait.
doesn't really matter.
Schedule. Oh, there was a sprint in Imola. Since when was there a sprint in Imola? Was I here for
See
Imola?
how forgetful sprint races are?
That's what I mean. I'm on the fence with them still because they're just really short. I feel like by the time everyone's in striking distance and ready to get into action, race over.
Yeah.
It's really like anticlimactic.
Once it starts getting juicy.
Yeah. Oh, that's it. We're on the last lap and you're like, what?
Yeah.
You're like, we want more. Give us more. It's a nice change, but I would like it if Formula 1 kept it so we only had a few a year. If the whole calendar became sprints, it would ruin the novelty. It would ruin the novelty of it. And I love the tradition of Formula 1, like when you've got press conference and then your practices and then your quali and then the race.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You guys can let us know in the comments if you prefer the sprints or if you absolutely hate them. I don't mind them, but again, I'd only take a few a year. I wouldn't like all of them.
It throws you off because then you're like we were before, trying to figure everything out. Like, wait, what day was which? Like, what happened then?
Who's tweeting when?
Which quali's which?
Yeah. You just get so lost with it.
Yeah, I think it must, for the teams, it must be a proper stress as well.
Yeah.
Because they only get one practice as well.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
You know, I agree with you. It must be really stressful having only an hour to try and get out and gather data before qualifying because you gotta obviously take into consideration like weather, tyre management. Like, there's so many factors to consider and so little time to pull it in that if you don't get out and don't get a good run, or your car kicks bucket, like right at the start of practice, and you've got no car for practice, like I reckon the teams don't enjoy it. I don't know. It's weird. I like sprint quali. If it was longer, I'd like it a bit more. But I think a lot of drivers play it safe because it's all or nothing. You're either gonna win and win big, or you're gonna absolutely just mess it up.
I'd say there was a handful of shockers, surprises in quali.
Yeah.
Like with Ocon, let's say.
Yeah, Ocon did incredibly well.
It was 6th, was it?
Yeah.
And K-Mag 7th. Like, you'd think that even Albon getting 13th.
Yeah.
Like, that's massive, and like none of us were expecting like half of the results that
No.
came from qualifying. I think qualifying was when it was when the both Mercedes crashed, weren't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was quali.
Because I remember when Lewis crashed, like they were trying to they must have been trying to calm him down by going, "Oh, you were predicted second, like Lewis, so like."
You didn't get second, but you were predicted.
Yeah.
It's the thought. It's the thought that counts.
Yeah. So he would like walked away in a happy mood. George, on the other hand,
Oh,
it was like,
it was just a bad day at the office.
it was kind of like you went, Lewis has done that.
I should
Watch
do
this
that.
then.
Yeah.
I'll do better.
And then just absolutely binned it as well. It's worth noting as well, while we're at this point, when the Mercs had gone into the walls, there were reports that the Austrian fans, whoever had attended, were cheering at the misfortune of the Mercedes. And I'll say the same thing this week as I did last episode, for when the fans were booing Max at Silverstone. I just think it's really rude and just inconsiderate. Like, I don't see you out on the track driving an F1 car, and at the end of the day, it's a sport that's like striving for equal opportunity, and it's just unsportsmanship at the end of the day, whether you're taking part in the event or if you're watching it. It was completely unfair for Lewis, and it was more Lewis than George, but for anyone to get booed, it's just inconsiderate, and I didn't like it.
It's just embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's embarrassing behaviour. Like, what do you get out of it?
I'm sure, like, if anything happened, they'd feel they're guilty, or they'd try and put on this big, like, I don't know, display of, oh, get well soon, blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah, so they didn't look as bad. But it's like, don't cheer in the first place. Like, I understand booing, even though, like, it makes me cringe.
Yeah.
But when someone's crashed and you don't know the outcome of that crash, it's just horrible.
Yeah, it's not nice. Not a fan.
It doesn't make you look good at all. Like, so you've just, whoever booed, and it seemed to be a lot because I could hear it at home.
Yeah.
So it's like, must have been super loud. So whoever booed, you've just embarrassed not only yourselves, but Max, who you want to support and love so much. You've just embarrassed his team and him by doing that.
It's so obvious that whatever really happened last season, like, it's quite clearly been put behind them. Like, they've learnt mistakes, they've grown from it, and they've done the mature thing to just kind of move on and just race and focus on themselves. And it's just a shame that fans are still kind of latching on to everything. Yeah. Like, just be a bit more open-minded, really. That's all I can say about it.
100%.
Yeah. Spread positivity.
So it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just enjoying cars going round in sort of circles.
Yeah, in funny circles. Like, there's a reason why you've seen a lot this year where, like, Lando and McLaren with Mind Charity and, like, the Aston Martins pushing for, like, positive environmental changes. These things aren't just being said for the sake of it. Like, words affect people, and how you treat your surroundings are going to affect you and the people that come after you. So, like, F1 drivers aren't saying it for the sake of it. They're saying it, and you should be listening and, like, practicing what they preach, because they don't preach something if they don't think you're going to benefit from it.
Yeah. Well spoken.
Thank you. What can I say? I'm one with words.
So yeah, we had I can't remember, can you remember what happened to Vettel in the quali?
Didn't he just go in the...
Yeah, no.
Yeah?
I can't remember like how.
Yeah, he boxed on the last lap of the sprint.
Ah, yeah.
It was the last lap, and they said that there was damage to the car, so he needed to box.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he was low down anyway, so there was literally nothing for him to lose.
Yeah, I think he was dead last.
Yeah.
Because I remember thinking, he's got like one lap left. Like, surely the incident that happened was way earlier in the race. Surely after the incident happened, you should have boxed him then. Why is it taking so long for you to find out like what was wrong?
Yeah.
And then you had Alonso, didn't you?
He had an electrical fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't take part in it.
Yeah, he didn't even start. He got DNS'd. Yeah, because I remember, like, they were waving, my dad and I were sat, and they were waving yellow flags. I'm like, why are they waving yellows for? And you just pan over to Alonso's cars, and because there was an electrical fault, the tyre blankets were still on, which was also a starting grid infringement. There was a lot of those this week too. I think there was about 5 or 6 drivers that got summoned for starting grid infringements, but I don't think anything happened in regards to that. I think there was no sanctions required. There were a lot of suspended fines as well. Vettel had a suspended fine for walking out the driver's briefing. Apparently there was some sort of argument, and it's going round and round in circles for like, this is what Ted had said, for like 20 minutes, and Vettel just got really annoyed and just left. You know it's bad when Seb leaves.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he probably has a rough day anyway.
Yeah, he's already had a bad day. Bless him.
You obviously had Perez, who had to start from P13.
Yeah, it was. I think it was just behind
like
the McLarens in the end.
Yeah, and then that put Gasly into P10, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found that baffling that it took so long, because everyone seemed to notice that. Well, I mean, I didn't, because I didn't see any replays or anything of his lap, but everyone seemed to notice pretty easily that he'd went out, like, out of track limits, but it took the stewards ages, and I was like, but that's not fair on Gasly. Like, the one time, like, he's done well, and you can't continue it. He's had a rough few months, and he had a little bit of hope going, and then got it ripped away from him. And it was by a small margin as well. I can't remember what the time was, but it was like 0 point something. That's how, like, small the margins were of them getting through.
It's just a shame. Like, for those who don't know, the stewards, so we have 2 FIA directors this year who kind of alternate. I don't think they ever go to races together, but then the stewards change every single race. And it seems Austria in particular, they seem to go really, really hard on track limits. And I don't know if compared to other races, whether this shows inconsistency within, like, the kind of rule keeping of the FIA, because I'm not particularly keen on having different FIA members every single week and different stewards, because you have the rules written down, but everyone can interpret those rules slightly differently. So, like, people could be getting penalties when really it's not deserved. Like, we saw it during the race. It was Gasly had allegedly not served the penalty, and the same with Lando, when in fact they'd both done that, but they were under investigation for not doing that. Like, this should surely be things you know, considering we can see graphics on screen noticing, oh, these pit stops are 5 seconds longer, I wonder why. Yeah. It just all seemed a bit chaotic in the FIA, in their little box that they must sit in.
Yeah, that was weird. I guess they can't... I'm trying to think of a solution to that. All I can think of is, like, they take handfuls at a time, like handful of races at a time,
Yeah.
or come up with a law in the rule books that like gives them more of a definite understanding of the rules.
Yeah.
With less interpretation. So it makes it easier to follow without the big massive jumps in between weeks racing. But
Yeah.
that's the only thing I can think.
I guess the debate would be that if you had the same stewards week in, week out, would they then begin to create their own bias towards specific drivers? Which could happen, but then surely there becomes a point where that's really distinct and recognisable, and then you'd be like, right, sack.
Yeah, true.
Who knows?
Yeah, anyway, as you're saying, not much really happened in the sprint race that was interesting, because sprint races aren't interesting. And I'm not going to read all of it out because I can't bother, because sprint races. But it was the usual, like, Max
Top 5.
first,
Yeah.
yeah.
We had Max, the 2 Ferraris.
Yeah. George, Perez did well, but he always does well.
Yeah.
He loves a good overtake.
Yeah, he does. He's very good at overtaking, and he's also very good at defending. He's a very well-rounded driver. I think he just needs to be a little bit more aggressive at times. But apart from that, like, we've seen it a lot over the season. He's just had really unfortunate starts within the weekend, be it quali or right at the start of the race. And then he's up in the points by the end of it.
Oh, speaking of that, we had Lewis, who just scraped 8th, and had, because he had a battle with Mick Schumacher, which was delightful.
It was so good.
Like, I understand now why Mick last race was fuming that Haas didn't let him past.
Yeah.
Because going from what he did against Lewis, I'm like, fair enough.
It was incredible to see him, like, hunt down Lewis and, like, then hold him back as well for as long as he did. I think these last, like, 2-3 races, Mick's really come on leaps and bounds. Because a lot of people were saying at the start of the season, like, very early on, they were like, oh, like, he's not good. Like, he's already got the pressure of the Schumacher name on him. And they're like, oh, he's only got a few races left to prove he even deserves to be in F1. And he's just gone and gotten back-to-back points finishes.
Yeah.
Like, it's just incredible.
You can see the confidence oozing out of him, just
Yeah.
the way he, like, answers questions even. Like,
yeah.
I was just disappointed, well, so was he, to be fair, like, fuming at his team. The fact that he asked them, came back to slow down so I can use the DRS to keep Lewis off me.
Yeah.
And they just didn't listen.
No.
For some strange reason, even though that would have got, like, in points, a lot more points.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why they didn't listen to him, because it was, as you said, it was working an absolute treat all through that. Because at a certain point I thought, that's it. He's not getting past. No way.
Yeah.
That was sprint race. Do you want to talk about something that's nothing to do with the race, and then go back, like, into the race?
Yeah.
After it. So we, like, and mostly on that. What did we write that out of?
The only out of race thing I had was fan behaviour.
Oh yeah.
We could
Talk
dabble a
about
bit
that
with Naomi. I reckon by the time we talk about, like, fan behaviour and then the race, we'll probably hit the solid 45-50 minute mark, and that'll be just right.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Do you want to start that bit, or me? Up to you.
Yeah, let me get the statement up really quick so I can kind of read it. Where is it? Oh my god. Did they get rid of the post? When's this from? 22 hours ago. 2 days ago. I think they got rid of the post.
Which one?
The one that Formula One put up being like, we don't support the behaviour. It's not there anymore. What? Hang on a minute. Where's Twitter? It's gotta be on Twitter. Media. No. If not, I'll be able to segue into it without it, it's fine. Yeah, no, it's not here anymore.
Yeah, I can't find it. Oh, wow.
They must have gotten rid of it. F1 Austria statement. It should come up if I... Photos. Okay, I found a photo of it anyway, but the fact that it's not on that thing anymore is so strange. Okay.
It's almost like you can't say that like backsies we talking about.
Yeah, we took it back. It doesn't exist.
Really?
It's not like people have already screenshotted it and shared it and got it already over the internet. That's oh my god. That's awful. A big yawn out. Oh. I'm knackered. I went to bed late last night.
I didn't sleep.
The heat, it's awful. Like, I was speaking with my therapist on Friday, and he was like, try and go to bed early for the next month. I was like, yep. And what was yesterday, like day 3? And I ended up staying up. Oops. Oh well. One night is not going to hurt me here and there. Especially when I have to work weekends and then have to go to bed early on weekends. That sucks ass. I'm like, I feel like I'm missing out. Okay.
Yeah, you deserve to.
Yeah, I'm like, I'll stay up here and there. It was worth it now, because seeing as Connor's got no lecky, it means it was worth staying up last night.
Yeah.
Right. As we're aware, over the last few weeks, there's always controversy in F1. There's always, like, narratives trying to be written. And, unfortunately, over the course of this Austrian Grand Prix, and it was mentioned from previous years as well, there was a lot of unacceptable behaviours from the fans that entered, especially towards women. Now, for us as a podcast, we're very much, we like striving with equality, diversity, and treating humans as humans, because that's all people are meant to be treated as. And for those who don't know, F1 issued a statement that went as such. So they'd put this out saying, we've been made aware of reports that some fans have been subject to completely unacceptable comments by others at the Austrian Grand Prix. When we looked into this, we had basically found that there was a lot of women who had been subjected to racist comments, homophobic comments, and just inappropriate comments and like harassment, physical harassment in general. And I wanted to touch on this because it's a big thing that has occurred out of this weekend, and it's just us as a podcast, we just condemn this behaviour. It's just unacceptable. There's no excuse. There's no like backing up or reasoning behind it. It's just wrong and it's unacceptable. And it got to the point where people were, I think the Aston Martins and the Red Bulls had actually welcomed fans into the garage for their own safety. But it makes me question the safety of the events and what the like the race makers and the stewards and the security, what their response was kind of like. Like,
Yeah.
was there many? Was there any? I don't
Yeah,
know.
it doesn't seem to be the case. Like I tend to a lot refer back to football because I
Yeah.
love football. Like it's one of me like other sports, but they've adopted this thing where if like you hear anything or whatever, you take down like let's say the seat number or something like that, and then you'll go tell the steward rather than you trying to pull a person up
Yeah.
and like maybe a physical altercation ends up happening. But if it seems like when I'm reading all these tweets and stuff like that, it seems like people could barely find
Yeah.
anyone to report this to. There was nothing really they could do about it when they're surrounded by thousands of men.
No. Yeah. Because I know when I went to Silverstone, for those who haven't been, obviously I can't speak for every Grand Prix, but it was very much this. It wasn't what I was expecting either, but it was very much kind of like a festival atmosphere. Like there's food stalls and there's music and there's places to just sit and chill. But then there's also alcohol, and obviously some people do not behave as responsibly as they usually can when they're drinking a bit too much to then socially interact with people. But from what I heard, it seemed like the event itself was not staffed by as much security and kind of like volunteers as normal. For Silverstone, there was I say per grandstand, there were three like volunteers who were just kind of there for like, oh, you need maps or like information, and then each grandstand would also have about 3 or 4 like security stewards too.
Yeah.
And there was even one day there was armed police there. I think it was on Saturday. So for me, I felt like per stand there was a nice amount of security, but from like researching it online, and we have Seb and Lewis have spoken out about this behaviour, and I wholeheartedly I agree with Seb that if you partake in this unacceptable behaviour, you should be banned from races for a lifetime. You don't
Yeah.
deserve to have the privilege to go there if you're going to ruin other people's experiences like that, because that's not going to stick with them just for that like time that they're there. That's something that could still impact them many years down the line.
Yeah.
It's just unfortunate to see scenes like that. It's just not fair because everyone deserves, like Lewis has said, everyone deserves to feel safe and enjoy the sport, and the people should be extremely welcoming to everybody.
Yeah. It's just annoying. Like it from we're only going off reports, but from what we've seen, it seemed to be older men who
Yeah.
were doing a lot of the inappropriate stuff, and men who had the wife and kids with them and
Yeah.
stuff, and still find that acceptable and appropriate behaviour. And I don't want to generalize anyone in regards to like it being well probably being Max fans,
Yeah.
but I don't want to say that because
Yeah.
I don't know definitively.
We don't want to
But
stereotype and generalize,
it,
but
yeah, but
yeah.
it seems to be that is the way of. I don't want to say Dutch culture, but it seems to be. That's the only
Yeah.
thing I've got in my head is that there's thousands of people that are mainly from the Netherlands, and like probably a lot of Austrians too, because they're literally on each other's doorsteps.
Yeah.
And like for that to be normal behavior, and you think that's acceptable, you may do it in your own lives or whatever, but don't go to an event and think that you can do that, and it's acceptable to do it to not only just like women, like
Yeah.
young girls too whose lives will forever be affected by that because you think I've seen a lot of people going, but it's a joke, or like, we I've not seen anything. I had a lovely day.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Like, some people are so oblivious to it. There's that many people there. Yeah, you might not see it, but when these reports start to emerge, and they're emerging in the masses as well, it's not just the odd mention here or there. It's just not. It's not a joke. It's not something. Do you laugh about it? No. Therefore, it's not a joke, and it's not funny, and it's just not fair at all.
Like, it's not why I fell in love with Formula One.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, and I'm sure a lot of this, like, has been going on for decades, but it's always been behind the scenes. Let's say it's never been this upfront, and central, and in your face about it. And I'm genuinely getting fed up of it.
Yeah.
Like, in regards to the casual, like, racism, like, whether it's on Lewis or anyone else, or like the casual, well, homophobia.
Yeah.
That's just gone on.
Or the sexism. I see it. Yeah, I see it a lot on TikTok. There's, especially I'd say over the last few years, women have felt a lot more welcome into Formula One, and I'm like, for one, I'm very thankful Harry reached out to me to do this podcast, because it's such a privilege to have a platform where we're able to talk about something we love and create a safe space, and for women to be put down just for liking a sport and to feel incredibly gatekeeped from a sport is just ridiculous. Like, I've had it myself in my TikTok comments. They're like, name every single F1 driver to ever exist. That's like me asking you to name every, I don't know, like, Liverpool player to ever play. Like, it's just unnecessary and excessive, and like, what do you get out of it? Like, it's just ridiculous, and we will never ever ever support that kind of behaviour. It doesn't matter who you are or what team you follow. If you are going about doing these wrongdoings, we're not here to support that, because it's completely unfair.
Yeah, we may not like tweet about it consistently, let's say, or make statements about it or whatever. But if we disagree with your bullshit, we will call you out on it, and I'll happily do so every day of the week until things change, because you can't be behaving like that. It's not on. And I'm sorry to all the people that have to deal with that.
Yeah.
I really am. It's unfortunate, and hope you're able to deal with whatever consequences it may have on you in the future. But I really hope, like, sincerely hope, that you all still follow the sport that you love and not let idiots like that stop you.
Yeah.
Because that's why they do it.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on.
The race.
Swiftly to the race, yeah.
I really liked this race. It was exciting. Like, we didn't have, it was so exciting that it didn't need rain. Like, like the overtakes, the penalties got a bit annoying, but we had some real good racing from everybody on the track. Like, at one point, Latifi was having a go at Daniel. Like, they were doing the tango back and forth, and then you've got, like, the Hasses going up against the Mercedes. Like, it was such a good race. I really loved it. And I'm glad we didn't have a double header for Austria this time, because it got boring last year.
Yeah. At one point even, I was like, I think at one point Stroll was like 6 or 7.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
I was like, I've had enough now. What is this? To be fair, even like the track limit things, you know, everyone was like annoyed by them. I thought it made it even more exciting, you know.
It is. It's so.
I was like, ooh,
you're getting all the radio messages come through. You're like, First warning, second warning. I was there trying to tweet, and I just couldn't keep up because by then they dished out penalties to half the grid. It was just
in the end, you just make a big massive like tweet.
Yeah.
All drivers
Yeah.
track penalties.
All drivers have probably got a 5-second stop and go.
Yeah.
And Lando broke his round 11 curse. Have you seen about this?
No.
So every round 11 in Formula 1, Lando's DNF'd. Last year it was in Hungary, when Bottas went in and it was raining and he'd knocked in about 4 people. Someone had pointed it out. I saw it on TikTok that he'd DNF'd every round 11, and they didn't. And McLaren even got double points this round 11. It was so good.
I was shocked by that. 1 sec, I'm gonna cough. I was super shocked by that because, all through the race, the video of Lando giving the steering wheel a finger, that's how annoyed they were by the car from the beginning of the weekend to Sunday. They were both just fed up with it. And for them to pull that back out and get points,
it's just nuts.
Yeah, and especially at a certain point I was like, oh my god, Ricciardo, well done, after all, the troubles he's been through, blah blah blah. But Lando, for him to get as high as he did. Fair play.
Yeah, especially seeing, like you said, how the week started. It's just such a turnaround. He's definitely not been as consistent as he would like to be within himself because he knows he's capable of getting on the podium. But I feel like we're starting to hit a sweet spot with McLaren, and I'm just hoping in the lead up to summer break we can get a few more points in. Because that's what we need. We just need more points. Just a few.
I just want to know what points feel like.
Yeah, I do. It's like when I do my fantasy team, and I'll take someone out because I'll have a bad week, and then they'll do really well the next week, so I'll put them back in, and then they do really bad this week. Good. Yeah.
And then, the team that I thought done amazing as well was Haas.
Yeah.
Throughout the whole weekend, in fact.
If we could have team of the week, it'd be Haas. We have driver of the day, team of the week, I'd agree Haas. They've got pace, and they've got consistency.
Yeah. It felt like it was disappearing a bit.
Yeah.
The consistency. And then all of a sudden it's just being pulled back, and I'm buzzing, to be honest with you. Because as you're saying, you're seeing Mick at the beginning of the season. It was K-Mag who was the star and seemed to be outperforming the car massively. But now, not only is K-Mag in and around still, now you've got Schumacher, who is on level, if not trying to raise the bar even more.
Yeah.
So it makes it so exciting for any Haas fans who are witnessing this. I think the only thing that may let them down is that engine.
Yeah.
Is that dodgy Ferrari engine. That would be the only thing, but they seem to not have that much problems in that regard. But yeah, I'm buzzing for them.
It's so special, seeing Mick get his first points in Silverstone's special, but then just seeing him get them again, I think Silverstone really gave him this new, breadth of confidence. And, confidence plays such a big part, and as much as F1's such a physical game, it's a lot about what is in your head, and it just shows that there's something within Mick that's changed over the last few weeks where he's I'm going to put the work, I'm putting the work in even more, and now I'm getting the reward from it, which is the points and, the team themselves, for a very low field team, they've done incredibly well the last few races.
100%.
I think they're beating AlphaTauri in the constructors at the minute.
Ooh.
Yeah.
To be fair, it doesn't surprise me that when I'm thinking about it now.
Yeah, no, they've had a very rough season to start with.
Yeah. Speaking about AlphaTauris, actually, you might still talk about Gasly
Yeah.
and Tsunoda, to be fair, but mostly Gasly. He's just this season. I don't know what's happened to him, because I feel like at the beginning of the season we were made up a bit with him because he was keeping Lewis at bay a lot.
Yeah.
Wasn't he like around like 6th, 7th place? He was tending to finish, and then all of a sudden he just can't get a decent race out of the car.
No.
I don't know what it is.
It's just something. I don't know if it's the car or if it's him.
Yeah.
But compared to last year, his performance just seems to have dropped drastically. Maybe we'll see improvements next year, seeing as it's the first year with all the new regulation changes, and you still got to get to grips with a car that's also still changing and going through upgrades throughout the whole year.
Yeah, maybe. But if you had like a stock crash, and that'd probably help
True.
massively.
Yeah.
Maybe take someone out that I don't like.
Yeah.
To be fair, I don't think there's anyone I don't like on the grid. I was heartbroken for Vettel.
He's pulling the short straws. It's so, like, 4-time world champion, and Aston Martin just
Going, oh, it's so great.
They're like, yeah, we're coming back and we're gonna have such a good car, and he just isn't getting the performance out of the car. It's just such a shame.
But then he was doing well at a certain point, though. That's what like infuriated me.
Yeah.
Because like I think it was around like, well, it was only like no, it wasn't. It was lap 40th, 38, I want to say. One of them anyway, and that was when he got hit by Gasly, and he was around like 13th place or something like that. So he was doing well, because he was getting involved in those little battles with like Ricciardo.
There were like 5 of them all battling for like 8th place.
Yeah, so like it was interesting. He was doing well for once.
Yeah.
And then boom, like gets knocked off. Boom, time penalty. Boom, like fine. Like what else?
Yeah. It was like was it Australia when he was on the moped? Like, he was just getting fined for like stupid things, and I was like, come on, like, let us have a laugh, let us have a bit of a break.
Yeah. Speaking of fines, like about that, what was the fine that all the podium like the drivers got? I can't remember what it was, but they got fined, all 3 of them.
I don't know, it was something to do with Parc Ferme, wasn't it?
Yeah, I just don't. I get it, but I don't get it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, they were fined, it was €10,000 each, but it was a suspended.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of suspended fines this weekend. It's interesting because F1 are quite open about their fines and their punishments, and then people are very quick to, like, jump on them a bit. Hang on a minute, this isn't right. Or it's like when I'm sure a few of the drivers have been discouraged about talking about, like, Mind Charity and, like, some of the other stuff that they're working on, which is extremely unfair, because if you've got a like something that you're passionate about and a platform to project that on that could help people, why would you stop someone doing that? It doesn't impact the sport.
Yeah.
It says here that their physios entered Parc Ferme before they'd been weighed, which is a breach of post-race procedure.
And everything.
Because they have to get weighed pretty much as soon as they come out of the car. Because
Yeah,
back in the day, they used to slip like spanners down the back of the suits and stuff if they knew the weight was going to be off.
I thought, yeah, I get that. I thought weren't the scale in the
Cool down room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. So it makes no
So
sense.
That's what I mean. Like, I never seen anyone. I know they hugged whoever.
Yeah.
And then went into the maybe it was that, but then that's not them entering it.
Yeah. Apparently, on Sunday morning, FIA sent out an email saying, other than the team mechanics, with cooling fans if necessary, officials and FIA pre-approved television crews and photographers, no one else would be allowed in the designated area. And, like, the physios must wait outside the cool-down room.
Ah, so maybe someone popped their head in or something.
Yeah. That's interesting.
All three of them as well, though.
Yeah.
Like, what are the chances?
Yeah, it's very peculiar. The FIA do confuse me with some of their regulations and their beliefs. More not even to do with racing. I'm kind of there, like...
I'd get it if, like, they were fining them because they wanted the money to, like, sit in the pot or whatever, know what I mean? Get a few quid, but they suspend them, so...
The price of Freddos, man.
Yeah.
They got to pay for them somehow.
Yeah, sorry, I just had to talk about it because it's been baffling me.
Yeah, it puzzles me.
Jump back into the race, where we were, we talked about Gasly, I guess the next place to go is Lewis, I guess.
Lewis did great.
I can remember having a tough-ish time.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, he's been on the podium every race for the last 3 races.
Yeah.
Like, compared to the start of the year, he's come on leaps and bounds with the car. As has George. I think George has had a bit of an easier time. I didn't hear much mention about porpoising over the weekend. So maybe they've got a handle on that, or maybe it was just a bit of a better track for them. But
yeah,
Lewis is definitely getting a lot more performance out of the car, and he seems a heck of a lot happier because the car, like George has said in the past, for this season, it's more than capable of fighting for podiums, and we're seeing it more and more now.
Speaking of George, he I was gonna say destroyed Perez's car, but he didn't really.
He gave him a bit of a whack and a bonk.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, Perez did not finish the race. And then all the memes came out from when Lewis and Alex had their collisions while Alex was with Red Bull. They're like, George, be like Lewis. And George is like, okay. Bonks a Red Bull into gravel trap.
That's all he's done all weekend.
Yeah.
Be like Lewis.
Yeah, I'm going to put it in the wall. I'm going to hit a Red Bull.
I did feel sorry for him well, not necessarily him. I'm more like Perez the idiot, because at that point in time there's no need to squeeze him.
No.
At risk of your own race. I would have thought he would have moved out a little bit, because he was already practically ahead of him. So you just needed to move the slightest a little bit and he would have been flying. But for some reason he decided, I'll squeeze him. I didn't get that one. Like, just talking about it before we started recording about how people are taking an issue with the fact that Naomi Schiff said Lewis had a hard time overtaking the Haas's compared to Perez. I was like, well, he did. He really did. That was due to...
Yeah, if you asked him, he would admit it.
Drivers.
Yeah. it's just another example of the community becoming really toxic. And I said to Arno before we started filming, I was like, funnily enough, I don't think any of these people have sat in a race car. But it happens to be that Naomi did, I think it was 2 seasons of W Series, so I'm pretty sure she knows what she's talking about. Like, it's just get a grip, like, get over yourselves, like... Oh, it's just so dumb. I can't even put it into words.
I feel like we're the only sane people in the world sometimes when I see comments certain people make.
Yeah. You look at them and you're like, what?
Yeah, and I'm like, are you serious right now? Like, if I love my family, but if my brother's being an idiot, I'll call him out for it. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that I don't like him. Same as Naomi, just because she Lewis is her idol doesn't mean she has to lick his ass every 5 seconds.
Exactly.
And
like,
nor would Lewis want her to do that.
I think something we've definitely learnt this weekend is if someone has done something like wrong, like especially from a moral and ethical standpoint, you call them out on it. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and let my friend throw around like casual racism or homophobia because it's just not acceptable, and there's no like line crossing. The line is crossed the minute you say it. There's no leeway or boundaries. Why can't we all just like cars that go in funny circles?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Just proper people being tits.
Yeah.
Like, it winds me up because it genuinely was difficult, and like that's I feel like it's disrespectful to the hash drivers, mainly Mick, who did a brilliant job at defending Hamilton, and it like amazing. I found myself, even though like I'm a Mercedes fan, being like, whoa, like for Mick because he did so well. But if you want to go for that spin and say like, oh, she's as the tweet was moving like Rosberg.
Yeah.
All she's done, if anything, is help Lewis by highlighting the fact that the Mercedes car is poo on the straight. Like, it doesn't have straight line speed compared to the Red Bull. All it's doing is highlighting Mercedes' flaws. Therefore, you should be made up because that means Mercedes will then try and fix the issue.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
very
just
silly.
a thought. Like,
yeah.
Come on.
Should we move on to
the
Ferraris?
That's good.
Plan E for engine failure, dude. That was the funniest thing I read this weekend. As soon as I saw the smoke come out the back of that Ferrari, I was like, no. I was like, Carlos, no. And then the fire. The fire. It was just a little bit. And then the car started rolling back and suddenly half the cars, like, that whole side is just engulfed in flames.
Just got goosebumps.
Yeah. It was just so strange to see, and it was such a shame because he had driven such a good race. Like, both of them had done so well, and obviously Charles came out on top, which, like, fair play. Him, Max, and Carlos, like, they put up great fights between each other. But it was just such a shame to see the car just go into flames, like, without warning.
Yeah. Like, it was literally just as he was about to make a move against Verstappen, and he just went, nope.
Nope. Like, as soon as you see the smoke come out of that back, you just know the engine's gone. But I think Carlos hadn't actually had a new... his was quite an older engine, so I think he's having a new one for France.
He's got to have a new one?
Yeah. I don't know if it's penalty worthy or not yet. Yeah, his car's melted. It's gone.
Yeah. It was... Well, he did so well, though, to get it away from the track as much as possible.
Yeah, he did.
It was the marshals that let me down a bit, where like even him himself, he was like waving like.
Yeah, he was
help.
like, "Hello, on fire? Are you gonna do your
Yeah.
job?"
On
Yeah.
fire, don't have brakes. Like this car's rolling back, I can't get out.
Yeah.
And it took like a good like 5-10 seconds for them to go.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Like and like run to try and help him. Then they tried to put the it was only one marshal who took upon himself to help, and he tried to put the wrench in, and it just like bobbled it out and kept rolling. And then they came with like the big jeep to try and park it behind the car to stop it from rolling, but the flame. I was like, jump,
Yeah. Like,
jump,
get out! Like he did almost look like
God.
he was. This is why you wear your fireproof pants. Your FIA certified fireproofs. It was such a shame, but what can you do?
As well, it would have helped them massively in the constructors as well.
Yeah, it would have, because now it's so close. Because we ended up with Max was second, and then Lewis third. It's just nice to have Lewis back on the podium, and I think as drivers, those three have got a lot of more like respect for each other, and it's nice just seeing them be civil. And it would be nice if fans started to take the hint and we're also civil with each other. That'd be great. But yeah, the gaps, I think this race, because of the DNFs, have really brought together at the minute. I think this is a nice place we can round off with our usual drivers. We'll do top 10, I think. Or shall we just read through all of them? Golly, there's a lot. There's only one driver on the grid who has yet to score a point this season. You want to take a guess?
The TV?
Yeah. Yeah, if you count Hulkenberg, then it's 2. But we've currently got Max leading the championship. He is on 208 points. Charles is behind him on 170.
Ah, I was so buzzing for him.
Yeah. A Charles win's always a great win.
Yeah, it's just the panic and everything that he was doing, like
the throttle.
It's not working.
There's nothing wrong with the throttle. He said, "No, there's definitely something wrong with the throttle." We've got Perez in third on 151. This is where it starts getting tight. You've got Carlos on 133. George Russell is on 128. He's only like 5 points behind, which is like nuts. And then I'd say the top 6 are very close, rounding off with Lewis on 109. After that, you got Lando 7th on a modest 64. We'll do top 10. Esteban Ocon's sat on 52. The Alpines are a very good midfield team this year.
Yeah, very.
They've got a good pace. Both their drivers are incredible. Then you got Bottas on 46, and to run off our top 10, Fernando Alonso on 29.
I forget like how many bad races that he's had. That's not his fault, I guess.
Yeah.
Where the car's given up on him. Because that shocked me that.
Yeah.
For him to do that well.
And then constructors wise, of course, Red Bull are leading on 359 points, which is quite a big gap because Ferrari is second on 303.
Oh yeah, so that.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then the Mercs are even more behind on 237. They're your top 3 for constructors. But yeah, we don't have a race this upcoming weekend. I don't believe.
No.
Check my calendar. No, we do not.
I was thinking about whether you wanted to. Well, I'll ask Harry as well. Do like a video where we react to like the best F1 memes this season, like a video or something.
That'd be cool.
And react to.
Yeah.
It's something to put out.
We've got so many things planned that will be coming, I think, after the summer break. So you'll just have to stay tuned and follow our socials. They're all listed just down below, especially the Twitch one, because after summer break, we're going to be getting a bit more active on there with hopefully some watch-alongs, and it would be great to have you guys there to see how we react, and the fact that we will not be able to censor out any of the swears that Harry is going to inevitably slip out. I'm calling it.
He did that on our most recent episode.
I sat with him editing it. He was like, "Oh, mate, like, I'm really going to have to cut this down."
But then when I'm swearing, I'm literally going, F you.
No, do you know what it was? Do you know what he said to me? He goes, Ono's family watches this, dude. I'm going to have to mute this bit a bit. It's like... But yeah, we will see you guys next time. Keep up on our Twitter. We tweet out memes during the week. We live tweet our practices, our qualies. And we will see you guys after France. Circuit des Paul Regard. Dun, dun, dun. Bye, guys.
Take care, everyone.
Yeah, take care. Goodbye.